So this weekend, round 2 of the PREM Cup, and we're off to the recreation ground to face Bath. What are you expecting them to bring to this game after the clash in the PREM Cup here last year?
Well, obviously, the one thing we do have to have a great awareness of is that was obviously a mix and match kind of Bath team. They played very well, particularly in the second half, and completely outplayed us in the second half. And so, obviously, they've got a good squad depth, but they've got a good team understanding of how they want to play and what they want to do, and they brought great energy to that game. And so obviously, we've got to be aware that we've got to go there and play well with whatever selections we make. But at the same time, we do actually also have to focus on ourselves. It's our last, and it's not a warm-up game because it's a PREM Cup, but they kind of have been put in this part of the season to kind of take up part of the warm-up programme as well. And so it's our last opportunity to really get up to speed and get ready for the start of the PREM next week.
So what's been the key message in training this week?
Really just to focus on ourselves and just to move on from the Gloucester performance. I thought there was clearly some steps forward from the last time we played Gloucester, and it was a strong Gloucester side, and so that was an improvement. But then we also talked about what created that little bit of a wobble in the second half and how we can deal with those things better, and maybe just get our heads back in the game a little bit quicker and get the momentum of the game more our way. But of course we also spoke about the good things, and there were plenty of those in the game as well, and how we can get more of those into the game. We've got to obviously, some of the disappointments of last season, they need to be a huge motivation to us, and they need to be a huge motivation to the players. But if they're not a motivation, if they start to create a doubt, when an opposition get the scoreboard close, or you feel like you're under pressure, and you kind of look back and go, oh no, is this going to happen again? Then it becomes a real negative. And so we talked a little bit about how to try and leave the negative parts of last season behind and only use the positive bits. And that's probably the most important thing, is that when we come under any kind of pressure, we actually get momentum back our way. We talked a little bit how to cope with that, but I think a lot of the time you just have to be aware of it. We have to be aware there's some pressures created by last season, because we can't ignore them. So we've got to embrace them, and we've got to use them as positively as we can.
And a return and a debut in the team sheet this week, as Henry Slade is back fit and Bachuki Chimbatse comes into the starting lineup as well. How important is it to give them game time before the league starts, as you say?
Well, that's it. It's the balance between the guys who've had the full pre-season, had plenty of time under their belt, which was quite a lot of the back line last week. But obviously, we did lack a little bit of experience, and obviously Slade has got a great amount of experience. Hodgie's got more experience, and we need to get him up and running. Dan John's the same, and so we're in that balance where it's kind of a pre-season game where we want to get minutes in preparation for next week. At the same time, we want to do well, and obviously we want to try and win games with rugby. And at the same time, we want to try and keep ticking over with the lads who've been playing, and that's obviously great that we've got the game at Coventry as well. So we think we should be well set for next week. But right here and now, we've got to kind of zone down and deal with game at a time, because the one thing we need to get as a club, and the one thing we need to build, is a bit of feel-good factor, and a few wins under your belt always helps with a little bit of momentum, and that's what we want to achieve going into the Premiership.